Hi, today we're going to talk about how to quit taking sleeping tablets. There's a lot of information out there, but watch on for the best tips. As a sleep doctor for over 20 years, one of the commonest problems I see for those suffering from insomnia is the addiction to sleeping tablets and how to cut down or wean off these medications. The sort of medication I'm talking about are the benzodiazepines such as diazepam, nitrazepam, alprazolam, clonazepam. I don't know who this Pamela is, but she's everywhere by the sounds of it. The other group are the antidepressants at night time like mirtazapine, amitriptyline, Endep. And then there's the opioids, endone, codeine. These drugs are A, addictive, B, don't really work sufficiently, and 3, I'm not sure whether they're safe in the long term either. Probably not. So those people who are on these medications in the first place, you've got to really understand the physiological basis of that. A lot of these people have insomnia related to anxiety and mental health, this hyperarousal effect, this busy brain they may have. Now those benzodiazepines that I mentioned, there's something called GABA receptor agonists. And what they do is they activate the GABA receptor in the brain and just bring that hypnosis in and that sedation. And that's why they've been popular for many, many years, decades even. In fact, temazepam was first patented in 1969. And so many people have been on these drugs for decades. And after a while, it doesn't work and they've just had enough and they want alternatives. The other drugs like mirtazapine or Endep, they can cause side effects as well. It might be dry mouth or weight gain, and it might improve depression, but does it actually improve that busy brain, the hyperarousal and the insomnia? And let's not forget the opioids. The opioids can cause all sorts of side effects, not just sedation in the day, foggy headedness, but constipation, and also a tolerance and a rebound insomnia when you try and withdraw these drugs. There are other drugs that are around that are being used more commonly as sleeping tablets, like melatonin or antihistamines, and the newer generation of benzodiazepines, the Z drugs as they're called, something called zopiclone or zaleplon, and another one called Stilnox or zolpidem. Again, trying to wean off those type of drugs, they have an immense rebound insomnia because of the GABA activation. And when you're trying to wean off or withdraw these benzodiazepines or these Z drugs, there's this intense GABA reversal that just causes this, not just insomnia, but agitation and hot and cold feeling and just feeling cold turkey. Now, there's many suggestions around to wean down these medications. You cut them in half and you cut them in quarter and try and slowly do it over a month or two. But the problem is you're still going to get the rebound insomnia and you're going to get that feeling of cold turkey eventually, particularly those who've been using these drugs for 20, 30 years. Now, one of the things that I've had enormous success with recently as a sleep doctor is medicinal cannabis or cannabinoid therapy. And there's two cannabinoids that have been particularly have used and has been successful in withdrawing these medications for anxiety insomnia. One is called cannabidiol or CBD oil. Another one is called tetrahydrocannabinol or THC. Now, these drugs work on the CB1 and CB2 receptors, as well as other neurochemicals in the brain. And what it basically does, it reduces that hyperarousal effect, that busy brain that anxiety gives. Not just anxiety, in fact, but also ADHD, PTSD, and bipolar. That sort of flight, fright, and flight, that cortisol that's flying around. And these old drugs that I've talked about, what they try and do is reduce that hyperarousal just by a sedation effect, but doesn't actually treat that busy brain in the first effect. But certainly CBD has been very good at reducing the hyperarousal state. And also taking CBD at night time with a bit of THC I find is useful, trying to finally wean off these drugs. And so a sort of schedule that I use when I use medicinal cannabis in such patients is I start them off CBD oil, maybe 25 milligrams at night, go up to 50, maybe go up to 75, if not more. And then once they're at a decent level and they're feeling a bit better, feeling a bit calmer, you might take CBD in the day as well. If they've got anxiety in the day, let's not forget, anxiety doesn't go away when the sun goes down or the sun comes up. And once you're on the reasonable amount of CBD and they're feeling a bit calmer, then I start talking about weaning down those medications, such as the benzodiazepines, but very, very slowly. It might take months, but it's a slow burn. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And so if one has come down on their diazepam or Valium or temazepam and they've halved the dose and quartered the dose, sometimes in some people, they just can't quite get over the line. And that is when I introduce THC or tetrahydrocannabinol with the CBD at night time, just to get them over the line. And usually the combination works very well, and I've had enormous success in weaning off these drugs. But remember, it's a slow burn and you have to do an overlap. So you don't ditch and then switch, you switch and then you ditch. And that's a very important concept when weaning off these sleeping drugs. So if you're one of those who've been on these drugs for goodness knows how long and you've just had enough and you're feeling that your sleep issues have not been resolved by these medications, go and seek advice with a sleep doctor, particularly one who's had some experience in cannabinoid medicine that really can find a safer alternative that's free of side effects and allow you to get off these drugs that really, it's just BS. Let's just cut the crap and let's just make lives better. See you next time.